Well, this is my final video from the Western Development Museum here in Yorkton. I hope you enjoy it. Where they came from. Most Ukrainians had little in the way of wealth when they arrived in Canada. Therefore, men often had to leave their families to work in railway construction, mines, or lumber camps. They could be away from their homesteads for months. The added burdens placed on farm wives were enormous. Similar experiences were experienced by wives of cash-poor farmers from other nationalities. Ukrainian women, especially in rural areas, often continued to wear hand-embroidered clothing for some time before adopting Western styles. Wonderful painted eggs. There is a name for them. I can't pronounce, so I will not try. Taking us over to the American room. Americans, for over 200 years, have played an important part in the evolution of Canadian society, although a similarity in language and heritage made them less visible than immigrants from Europe. American vigor influenced subsequent Western Canadian society. The contribution of one American among many, William Van Horne, deserves mention. Under his leadership, the Canadian Pacific Railway was completed, making possible extensive settlement of the West. Forrest family from New Mexico owned most of the furnishings in this room. Family migrated northward in 1904 and farmed in Alberta for several years. In 1920, the Forresters moved to the Belcaire, Saskatchewan district, southwest of Yorkton. See the furnishings, family photos. Handmade willow basket. This basket was made by Mike Novick of Sturgis, Saskatchewan, from prairie willows in a variety of natural sizes and colors. Willow baskets were made around the world before the age of plastics. This style was used as a garden basket in Belarusia. Mr. Novick, a retired farmer, learned the craft as a boy, tending sheep for the village of Klepazkak. The Germans have a long history of settlement in eastern Canada. By the 1900s, German-speaking groups were attracted to the Canadian West, primarily by its agricultural potential. In addition to those arriving from Germany, German-speaking immigrants came from Eastern and Southeastern Europe. As well, many German settlers moved northward from the United States. The pitchers and steins in this room are reminders of a family's earlier life. The ethnic identity of the early German immigrants on the prairies was complex because there were a number of German-speaking groups from wildly different backgrounds. These settlers were often defined more in terms of religion belief rather than common culture. German-speaking immigrants earned a reputation as successful farmers, but many Germans also settled in towns and cities where they made many major contributions in small business enterprises and in the skilled trade. The British room. Between 1896 and 1914, over 2 million people immigrated to Canada. Many settled on the prairies as homesteaders. Others worked in forestry and mining or were employed in the booming towns and cities. During this short period, the West was filled with people from many cultural traditions, thereby enriching the national fabric. In 1905, largely as a consequence of the rapid settlement of the West, 2 new provinces were created, Alberta and Saskatchewan. Over 1 million of the immigrants in this period before World War I came from the British Isles, but this influx was only the most recent impact made by the British. Along with the French, the British had a long association with the history and development of Canada. The picture of Queen Victoria and the tray with the portraits of King Edward VII and Queen Alexandra imply a strong faith in the monarchy and in the British Empire. Over the centuries, the people of the British Isles have contributed greatly to the cultural, commerce, government, and politics of Canada. And we finish off where the people came from with this Icelandic display. Well, I hope you've enjoyed your time with me at the Yorkton branch of the Western Development Museum. Have yourselves a great day. Agape.